We all know that there's going to be, I just wanted to go through that quickly. There's going to be a change in administration. Okay, so we all know that's going to happen. I met with John Patterson yesterday and some of our folks, Lyndon Williams and a few others, but we'll discuss all of that later and I'll get into all of that. So what I want to make sure is that everybody understands that we're here till the December 31st. And we still have a lot more to do. So we are not going to sit back and not do anything and leave it to anybody else. We got a lot of cleaning up to do. There's still a mess that was left behind, and we're gonna clean up this mess, and we're gonna make sure after we're done that we can hand over administration to them with no problems, no mess. But we're gonna keep this on the right track. And I wanna say everybody here has been working over the last few months. You guys have done an excellent job, and the city shows it. Yeah. So I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause. Because I'll tell you right now, the streets is happy, the people are happy, the streets are cleaner, and with the police department, we haven't had no murders, no shootings, no nothing during this term and during this time. So there's a lot of great things we can talk about, but there's a lot more great things that we still got to do before the 31st. All right, and we're gonna get it done. I'm not gonna say too much more than that, and we can go around and we can talk about the progress, things that still need to be done, things that's in limbo, things that we need to be aware of. So we can start, I guess, from here, go around the table that way, and Holly, with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are definitely in work mode. I don't think I have stopped work mode since we started school, and I are still counting the days. So for some of the important stuff that we need to discuss, which we will do in a shorter leadership meeting around this Thanksgiving holiday, we will further talk about that later. We're not going to talk about it until we have some more of the details surrounding what we need to do or what we can do and what we will move forward with. I have to say again, in terms of the litigious nature of where we are with our employee population, as you know, we tried to have we did have therapists on board. We're going to try to keep someone on board throughout the season, only because it is a season mixed with a lot of emotions. For some people it's very joyous, and for others it's very sad and lonely and depressing. And so we want to have resources and things available so that we are able to make sure that our employee population can kind of come out of what I would call PS, post-traumatic stress, from having 3 mayors in 90 days, to now having an election in the city, to now the holiday season, which for some people is wrought with many different emotions. So we are doing those things, and you'll start to see a lot more around trying to kind of boost some of the energy around this place. I think what we can also do, since we are working so hard, is to also do so with a smile. We are going to do something on the 20th. I've booked the mayor exclusively. I have kind of cornered a lot of my ringer commissioners already to get some clearance, but we do want to feed our staff. Or do something special for the staff from us to them, because just as he thanked us, I want to be able to give back thanks to those people that work so hard daily to help us do the jobs that we need to do here. And to boost an employee culture, even though we're potentially here till the end of the year, and it doesn't matter. But to have a work environment that you can come in and feel like it is something that you want to come to and to be involved in, and you know, people say familial. If we're family, we got kids and cousins and feuding nephews and aunties we don't like, but so I don't like that word because you can take it one way or the other. But I do want to try to start doing some things around boosting things for the staff. I'm waiting for some of the employee perks and benefits. We've revamped those, and we actually do have some perks and benefits that we can roll out to all of our entities. And so I'm just asking that if you have ideas or things that you want to share, or things, especially around what you're going to do for the collective holidays. I want to steer away from calling them by other names other than collective holidays, but if we're going to do something as a collective entity, let me know, because we are starting to plan that with Sylvia. And you don't know it yet, but we are. Just to see what we're going to do and what space we'll utilize and what the parameters around that will be. And as usual, we're on a complaint high. So I would just have you know, in terms of cleanup, we are sitting, as you know, the legal bills are one thing, but imagine all of the prep work before we even get to people wanting to sue the city is all of the mediation and the complaints that come in on what I call a daily basis. Here are at what I would call a record high for what I've seen over a 20-some-odd year career. This is unusual, but it's not in this level of toxicity. So what we are trying to do is tackle them as they come and resolve them as soon as they come, because I don't like to sit on them. So if I'm calling or if I'm looking for you, it's probably because there is some sort of investigation that needs to be done or some sort of conversation that needs to be had where I need to get your input. And then work with you to do a speedy resolution if we can in some instances. And so I leave you with that. Other than that, it is a pleasure. As someone said, what did you say again? Ernie Davis came in the room, and I said, I want the retirement. I said, I want that good retirement. And he said, no, you don't. Yes, I do. I want to retire. So yes, I want us all to think about where we are in the year. He can't stop coming to work. And
So he did go on.
he did. No, I was not joking. He was gonna act like he was you in your stead. But it is good. We have a lot of people coming in and out. I've noticed some reporters coming in and out, and again, that was around Election Day and the day after, but just be cognizant. I just always want you guys to always have a heads up and an ear to the ground, just to sense employee culture in and around the building, and then with your staff. So if you notice something or something peaks or something is going on that you're hearing, please make my office aware so that we can kind of get to it before the major grumblings happen or some sort of major outbreak happens. So I thank you. Yes,
Okay, no, there's something else.
Okay.
I need something from you.
Okay, I'm done. It's on you. We're going around the room.
Pretty much, it's true that there is an intense litigation issues now. In addition to that, we have so many outstanding outside counsel issues. We're going to have to look to downside the utilization of outside counsel because of the kinds of finances or invoices that are owed to outside counsel. So we are pretty taxed in the law department. So if sometimes they can't get to you on the legal, oh, hi Ernie, how you doing? Right. And I mean, some of the things we're going to be trying to pull some of the cases from outside counsel, particularly when it comes to litigation. We made recommendations about how the organization should be staffed to deal with the litigation issues opposed to some of the other types of things that we've been handling. So we had a meeting last week and we had an organizational chart that will allow, depending on whether we get a fifth assistant, that will allow us to pretty much handle more litigation outside. We're finding that litigation is what is the most costly. It takes more time, more court experiences, and all that other stuff. So those are the things that we're looking at, and there's some other recommendations that I will be writing a report and giving it to the mayor as to what structural changes should be made to the law department. RPC. And she's waiting for it. It's something that happened. I'm sorry about that. That's another issue we're trying to work out.
While you're
I apologize.
negotiating that on the side,
Could we
there's a
step
big
out?
disservice I noticed, and I wanted to tell Mike. I was shopping in the supermarket, so you need to let the seniors know that the Florida natural orange juice has a huge price increase. You won't see the price change, but it's the game that they do all the time. It went from 64 ounces down to 52 ounces.
Yeah, that's fairly common. I wrote something about that where you remember you used to buy a pound of coffee?
Right.
I challenge you to find a pound of coffee on the shelf or a half gallon of ice cream.
It's no more.
We
What
have
they do, what they do is,
And a 9-ounce bag of, an ounce of potato chips that come in a bag this big.
it's got a lot more air in it now.
Yeah, the price of air is going up.
Just so you know, the seniors should know that, and some people should know that. Because I've been looking when I was shopping, and the minute I touched it, I was like, wait, this don't feel normal.
It's yogurt
Just
also.
ask
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
So, that's just something I just thought I'd throw out there, that I realized as soon as I went to the supermarket.
Could we
anyway,
step out for 2 minutes?
Sure.
It's the RPC thing.
Okay. All right, well, that leaves us to Dr. Smooth.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. The water department, we are stabilizing our operational data. It's coming on pretty nicely. The team is really starting to gel. The amnesty program will begin on the 12th of December, and the phones are absolutely off the hook. There is still a lot of information to ascertain. We are still looking at the rollback of that 13% increase, and I'm sure that it's there, but we're just trying to make sure that we can validate it from a budgetary standpoint. There wasn't a lot of operational data in the department at all, so we are actually recreating it as we're moving forward. And we're also preparing to upgrade the digital operation of the water department as well. I went out to the monitoring sites, and they weren't quite secure the way that they should be in terms of security and cameras and the chlorine site. So we pretty much got that moving in the direction that it's supposed to be going. And also special thanks to Commissioner Grassi for his team. We're looking at a new software now that's going to move us off of that old DOS system into a centralized operating system for the water department. And we have a proposal into your office and also sent to the controller to expand the field operation. They need more space. The building on McQuestion Parkway is a little too small. The workspace is too small. So we're looking to try to expand that a little bit. We've got about 23 guys down in that little space. And our inventory is there, and the trucks are all on the street. And so we got rapid redepreciation of fixed assets and those sorts of things. So other than that, the water department is doing great, and we're looking to keep moving them forward. And thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
It's a little quiet in recreation this month, thank God. It's a little reprieve. We're not doing something every weekend that God gives us life. But we do have a coat drive, so that if you all are interested or know anyone that has a new or gently used coat that they can donate, we are looking to do so. You can drop it off right in recreation or at the fire headquarters. And then what we do is actually give that to the people during our community soup distribution, which we do every other Saturday in the Dole Center, also free to the community now that it's getting colder. Then we have our turkey giveaway on the 25th. So we'll be right out here, which is the Monday before Thanksgiving. So if anybody wants to contribute to that in any way, of course you are invited to do so, or volunteer and help us with the distribution. That's also encouraged. There is a possibility, I'm actually supposed to have a meeting shortly. There is someone I understand that wants to donate 100 cooked turkeys with sides, and if they do that, then I'm gonna figure out how we gonna feed the people. So if you all are interested, it would actually be my goal or intention to do that on Thanksgiving, because as the Commissioner of HR has stated, this is a very sad time for a lot of people. So I've already begun recruiting people to help, just in case that is a fact, so that we can change the narrative for people as much as possible. But again, if you have any questions, although my boss been sighed, it is relatively quiet for now, thank God. Now next month will be another story, but right now it's pretty quiet. But please help us to help the community through the coat drive and or the soup distribution and the turkey giveaway.
And also the Christmas trees.
Yeah.
We have 100 and 50 Christmas trees coming.
That's December
So
3rd
we-
we'll be doing.
Yes, so we need to make sure that that's on the flyer.
You want that on there?
Yes, because we do have the Christmas trees. I've already spoke about that and had the conversation, so they are coming.
Okay.
So we need to, well, you need to figure out how you want to distribute the Christmas trees to families that may need Christmas
Okay.
trees and the children.
Okay.
All right, and do we have any toy drives going?
Well, as far as the toys go, we do have some people that donate the toys for us as well. For the last 2 years, they've given us, I don't know, about $700, and then there's been independent toy drives that happen, and then we just take it all to the Winter Wonderland because the tree lighting has gotten a little fancier with the horse and carriage ride and the caroling soldiers. So we just push the toy distribution to the Winter Wonderland so we don't overwhelm people.
All right, so we got to talk about that because I always done toy drives privately outside.
Okay.
So maybe we
I
can
love it.
combine it so we make sure all kids go without, no kid go without a toy. So we
Okay.
can do that. All right?
All right, and then
Christmas time.
there's also a partnership that the Friends of Recreation and Lending a Hand to the Future have been doing, if anyone is interested. For the last 3 years, we partner with the Girl Scouts, and we take toys, the Ace Amusements, that carnival over there in Lot 11, they have started giving us stuffed animals. So now we take those stuffed animals and we give them to the Girl Scouts during their pajama party. Santa goes and takes that to them. I keep Santa busy. And then there's also this woman, she's called the Stuffed Animal Lady. So I go to the Stuffed Animal Lady every year with my organization, and she gives us things as well. So tell anybody you know that's giving anything to see me so that we can do just what you said, Mayor, and make sure that no child goes without. That's my goal. I'm excited.
That'll do. You got a backup Santa sitting right next to you if you need one.
Oh, you gonna be running Santa?
Sure,
I need
why
a
not?
new Santa. Are you available?
Of course.
Santa, we gotta go to the Girl Scouts.
There you go.
All right.
Do they still have the barrels outside for anything? Those barrels? Are those?
You were gonna ask me.
I'm sorry, what barrels?
Like or a box, people can drop it off.
Yes,
I
yes.
saw barrels.
And I have to say that I went to the Mount Vernon Animal Shelter, and what
Right.
about the animals?
The animals? Well, I love the animals, but the children are my priority. Now, if I can put a little box next door for some dog food or cat food, I actually drive around with cat food in case I find a stray. But I'll put them a box next to the coast. You're welcome.
Me?
Yes, you.
So, good morning, everyone. So it's been approximately, I guess, about 6 weeks that I've been in planning. So let me say this, first of all, that the planning department is absolutely, like recreation and most other places, under-resourced to do what it really needs to do in the best interest of the city. So I'll start off with that. Having said that, there's a few things that we need to know. We are also, from a grants perspective, we've been following up on the paperwork that has been seemingly dormant for quite some time. Grants that have been issued to the city that have not been processed through. So there's millions of dollars that actually, I guess, is on the table that now we're trying to pull off the table and to pull into action, right? Zombie grant stuff, sewer grant stuff. We've got some other grants that have actually been issued to the city. The city has actually completed the work, done the stuff, paid the bills, and now it's a matter of reimbursement. But one of the first things that needs to be done is the general questionnaire needed to be submitted to DASNY in order to ensure that all of the grants of the city that's through the state would be able to be processed. Happy to report that is done. That is in. We've actually submitted for reimbursement for the $300,000 for the tennis courts that were built a couple years ago. For that money to come back into the city, so they are processing that. We've got a list of other grants that we now are going one by one. And so I say that because when Steve Lawrence calls you, department heads, about the stuff that he needs from you. I need you not to act like you are on a nap. I need you to act like you are awake and that you are, I'm not looking at anybody in particular, but I need to make sure that you are responding to him because there's timeliness around this, so that we can get the documents that we need to get from you. We want to thank those departments that have been working with us well, such as the fire department, trying to get their stuff back as we proceed forward. So if you receive a call from Steve Lawrence about it, it's about money, and it's about us trying to do what we need to do. Having said that, from looking forward, there's a number of grants that are coming forward. One, we also completed the actual grant submission for Cities Rise, and we were told, I guess informally, that of the, I guess, 900 and some odd $1,000 we requested, we got $618,000. So that the information is going to come back for us to figure out how we massage the budget. What things were included, what things were not. I want to thank Marlon and Steve and Chantel O'Carter, who is serving as our consultant now, all of those individuals and that were a part of that to make sure that that happened. We're working with DPW on the finalizing the last piece of this $1.6 million sewer grant, so that we can make sure that we begin to get that in advance. Moving forward. We're working with several departments, including IT and the clerk's office and the assessor's office on this keeping grant that is coming up in January, which would benefit many departments because we come with a system of digitizing our record keeping. We've extended the invitation to the comptroller for her to be a part of that process. I'll follow back up with her again today on that. U.S. Census, the planning department has taken on the responsibility of being the lead agency to facilitate for the U.S. Census, and hopefully all of those will fold into the government's complete count committee. As you know, we are probably 30,000 people undercounted. There's probably about 100,000 people here. We keep talking about 68,000. So we're going to be working on that. I have requested a meeting with the mayor and the comptroller to talk about resources, because here's the reality. We're not going to get this right count unless we put some resources in here to make sure that it happens. And so that means that there's got to be some staffing and some other resources in order to make sure we get out in the streets and whatnot. From a planning standpoint, the boards are continuously meeting and making their approvals and their denials. There's a number of projects that are coming before us. There are some projects related to Malvern and East, related to the Malvern and Boa grant, and a number of other things that are also coming up. So you'll be hearing more about that. From the URA's perspective, Sylvia has been doing an outstanding job working with not only HUD, but also with our consultants, TBA, and other staff members to correct some of the things that have gone, without proper, management. Yes, there are a number of outstanding loans that are out there in which we are following up on to see which ones we are actually going to be able to recoup and which ones we're not. There's no sense of the community continuously having this circular conversation about these loans. It is what it is. We're going to determine which loans we can actually, call on and get them to start to repay. A lot of it is about process, but then it goes back to my original point when I started, right? That the staffing issues are a challenge. When you don't have the right people to manage everything that you need to manage, this is what happens. Things fall through the cracks. So we are following up on that. But good news is that the CAPES 2017's CAPES report was completed. And so now we'll begin to get that all finalized and approved by HUD, and we'll begin to focus in on the 18, so that, to your point earlier, when the new administration comes in, the thing they got to worry about is really just 19 and moving forward. You also should know that we also $1.6 million was drawn down for two fire trucks and an emergency
A rescue vehicle.
rescue vehicle. So that money has been drawn down. It is fully approved by HUD. It has all of the approvals at all of the levels, from local to the federal government. All of that documentation has been submitted to the mayor and to the comptroller, and now it's a matter of, and the vehicles have been ordered. Vehicles are here.
What's the delivery date?
One's coming this week.
11/18 is the first engine company, 12/11 is the rescue company, 12/16 is the other engine company.
All right.
So they are in motion, and so then what will happen is that once the comptroller verifies that the money actually is in the city's accounts, then that money will be transferred over to URA. URA has all of the documentation for the receiving of those, and then we'll pay those bills. Here's the important part for everybody. None of that has come out of tax dollars. So it means that it is not on the city to pay for it, right? So we really should thank, of course, Sylvia and also Teddy for working very diligently to get that done. Again, it goes back to my point, department heads. When we call you to ask you about stuff, to follow up on it, it's important for you to do that expeditiously so we save the city money. And we actually take advantage of these federal dollars, federal and state dollars that are out there for us. In addition to that, so the next thing we're working on is the $650,000 for the playground, right? We're finalizing the contracts for those things to be done, and then we'll draw down that money and do the very same thing as give the documentation to the mayor and the comptroller, and then we'll be good. Anything after that?
Yeah, the rebid, when are we putting out the rebid for 4th Street Playground again?
So, we can have a conversation about that. We can put out the rebid for it, or, we can have a conversation, we can look at it and see if it's legitimate, if you want to move forward with it or not, because Sylvia, we may be able to identify money. It came back at $400,000. I mean, I don't know. We can always put it back out for rebid, just to see if a better price comes. But in the meantime, we also looking to identify what money we have to kind of get that done. For those of you that don't know, 4th Street Playground and surfacing has been a mess since probably before I became the Recreation Commissioner almost 8 years ago. We attempted to try to fix that as a part of a legacy grant that Astorino pulled back from us. He said that Mount Vernon had received too much money with Memorial Field under the Davis administration. We attempted to do that. We finished the whole design and all of that. We went out for bid and looked at how much it would cost to redo that. At that time, it was about $200 and some odd or $300,000. Now it's coming back at $400,000 to just resurface it. What it's going to require is for them to mill down several layers, because basically layer upon layer upon layer has been put there, and it has become compromised underneath, which was why we had the temporary surface that was there to try to make sure that we didn't have any liabilities while folks were playing on the court. At this point, that's not working in this urban environment, so we've got to remill it no matter what. And so if we don't get federal money, that means that the city's going to have to figure out how to pay for that, which means that's going to be on the backs of our taxpayers. So we'll have further discussion about that.
Okay.
I think that's it, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm going to make this really quick. We had a hard stop at 11:30. I think Commissioner Stroll had mentioned we are doing a demonstration with a company called Springbrook on cloud-based financials for both water, URA, and IDA. Try and get them all off of QuickBooks. That technically started 1 minute ago. There are multiple phases coming on for the website, additional add-ons, changes. So we did launch, all that. Obviously, people started looking at it, which is great. They found things that weren't necessarily in good order. Now we start cleaning that up and kind of moving forward. So if my guys reach out to you, please assist in providing additional content. New York State Cyber Incident Response Team, we are officially in queue for a Q1 penetration and full IT support test from New York State. That again goes back to making our IT infrastructure more secure. That is an attack is kind of more of a question of when, not if at this point. One of the things we learned at the New York City Forum we went to a couple of weeks ago, Yonkers schools were actually attacked last month. So they are coming. So we're trying to do the best we can to try and lock down things and make it as hard as possible. We kind of move on to something a little bit easier. The other thing that was nice, New York State has asked us to participate as one of the first cities in New York State to participate in the phishing test. Those of you who don't know, that's when somebody on your team gets a funny looking email and is not so smart enough and still clicks on the link anyway. So it will be a test across all staff employees. I don't know when, and I wouldn't tell you guys, but you should not be informing your staff. The idea is really to kind of see who's actually going to move forward, so we know where to kind of reach out and make sure people understand the importance of not engaging in those types of emails. That is the number one threat to our IT infrastructure, is more employees engaging in phishing or spam-based email. Beginning of last month, I did complete legislation and Board of Estimate approval to get $80,000 reallocated within our budget lines. What that means is, one, cybersecurity, we are moving forward and putting those controls in place. Two, my team is now planning to take a look at everybody who does not have Office 365. It's about half of the city employees. You will be starting to migrate between now and the end of the year. We will do it department by department, so just hang tight and we'll reach out to you guys and kind of do it in a more coordinated effort. Idea is that when we move to 2020, we'll start doing training, because there is a lot of new functionality and features that we just do not get with the old stuff. But not expecting anybody to kind of utilize that. Have at it if you like, but don't feel like you're behind the curve. We'll help everybody out. Lastly, I did mention we went to a New York City Technology Forum. It was actually great. Got to see a lot of vendors, got to talk to a lot of people. We were actually the only city other than New York City agency employees, so we kind of crashed the party, but they were very cool about it. Nice part is I got to meet a lot of vendors. We have Gartner coming in tomorrow to start talking about, from an advisor's perspective, of what's going on in local government, as well as talking about what to expect with 5G wireless rollouts as they start to kind of happen across the city. And then I do have Google is scheduled to come in Thursday morning. So we're going to be talking with them, as well as looking at cloud-based analytics, tools like that. They have also offered, they're going to give me more information, but they're looking to allow, I think with Youth Bureau, to actually do a tour of their facilities down in New York City. So give the kids a sense of kind of what else is out there and some cool stuff going on. In addition to that, we also had a good conversation with New York City's 311 team. Ahead of the City Rise program, what we talked about is actually going in and seeing their facilities. I just spoke to them today. They are totally still open to actually having us come down, see the facilities, talk about best practices, talk about challenges they had implementing the solution, which I think dovetails nicely into the City Rise program that will go into 2020. With that, I got to run.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
DPW.
Okay.
I'll start out with the negative, unfortunately. As many people may be aware, we have a street that's collapsing on North Bond Street, and I've closed the street from Oak Street to Mount Vernon Avenue. The collapse is due to a sewer leak below the street, about 18 feet down, and the entire length of piping needs to be replaced. There's a requested for emergency legislation to fund a repair, and North Bond Street is going to stay closed until further notice, or until this repair can be done due to the safety condition there. Con Edison has actually taken steps. They find it so serious that they're actually relocating a gas main. They're going to dig up the entire sidewalk and relocate the gas main under the sidewalk, because the gas main is exposed because the street is undermined so bad. Also going to talk about resources. Like everybody else, DPW is short-staffed, and we're feeling it more and more now that the cities continue to grow and DPWs continue to shrink. The latest thing that's been brought to our attention is we have a number of personnel who are working out of title, who have to work, be assigned to a sanitation truck, because even though their title is laborer, because we don't have enough sanitation men. Some people who have CDLs that have laborer titles or skilled laborer titles are assigned to drive a truck. As a result, we have to pay these people the higher title in accordance with the union contract. This whole situation's been brought to the attention of DPW by the controller's office, and we're continuing to try and work out a solution to it. But unfortunately, when you don't have enough drivers and you don't have enough sanitation men, you can't collect the trash. And this is our heavy trash season, and we're doing everything we can to continue uninterrupted with trash collection. We hope to resolve the issue with the controller's office, at least on a temporary basis. On a positive note, let's talk about Memorial Field. The notice of intent that was filed by our vendor has been accepted by the DEC. I've approved their stormwater pollution prevention plan, and they have approval for their dump site. So they will be mobilizing to the site this week, and they expect to start moving dirt out of the field as early as Friday. So that's a big
Thursday. I thought it was Thursday.
Thursday, yes, Thursday, I'm sorry.
Correct.
They may be delayed me by the weather, but as early as Thursday.
So just for the rest of everyone in here, when you hear other outside elected officials saying that nothing's happening and we're not moving Memorial Field and it's not happening and all of this nonsense, don't believe the hype. The truth of the matter is, we've been on it, we've been working on it, the dirt will be going out, and we have a completion schedule for December, early December, and then we'll do all the paperwork. Then we'll be handing Memorial Field over to the county. So we are doing our job, so you should all be proud of it. We will get Memorial Field done as promised.
Yeah, if you go by the field, you'll see that they've set up the silt fence. They put the erosion control pad in place for washing down the tires. They've done a number of things. They brought in some gravel. They're starting to build a construction road. They've drilled and taken numerous core samples which were sent out, had to be approved. The original schedule that was submitted at the time they signed the contract, we're within 2 or 3 days of what it originally was. So Memorial Field is certainly right on track. Segue to another positive, Gramerton Avenue. We know that Gramerton Avenue has been torn up by Con Ed from Devonia Avenue all the way to Bronxville. I've negotiated with them and made arrangements now that this week repaving of Gramerton Avenue will take place, and it will be paved curb to curb.
Right.
And it's going to be a nice, fresh asphalt over concrete base, just like in front of A.B. Davis High School. So no more potholes, no more bumps, no more rough ride on Gramerton Avenue after that. Talk about the sewers. Our MS4 track down is on track. We've discovered numerous cross connects and illicit discharges in the past couple of months that are being addressed as we speak. We had a sewer collapse on Mount Vernon Avenue where we backed into an illicit discharge that we corrected. In the course of digging up the street to correct the sewer collapse, we found that a large 12-family building was tied directly into the storm sewer and dumping sewage directly into the Bronx River. So that's been corrected as of yesterday, and we're backfilling that hole now. And in addition to, that's a 2-for-1. We fixed the sewer collapse and we fixed an illicit discharge, which is always good. Let's talk about sanitation a little bit. This is the heaviest time of year for sanitation. We have 13 routes going out on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between yard waste, regular sanitation collection, and recycle on Wednesday. The state of our sanitation fleet, thanks to the generosity of New York City, we were able to take some time and take trucks off the road one at a time and refurbish them. We have trucks as old as 20 years old that are going out 3 or 4 times a week, and we have 10, 15-year-old trucks going out every day. The average age of a sanitation truck, its economic useful life in an urban environment, is approximately 10 years. New York City disposes of their trucks after 7 years. So right now, we have a total of 12 operable sanitation trucks. We have one old truck that's currently being refurbished as a spare. I've negotiated with New York City, and they've agreed to allow us to keep those 5 trucks until May of next year. After that time, we're gonna need to do something. So we have to look into the future and look at getting some sanitation equipment. Because what we have is old equipment that we've put into a usable state right now. All our trucks are roadworthy, all our trucks are safe, but they're old. You drive around in a 1997 Dodge, sooner or later, you're gonna break down. It's just the nature of the beast. As far as winter prep goes, we've got 10 plow truck routes. Right now, we have 7 plows up and ready. An 8th should be ready today. And the sanitation garage, which is down to mechanics, by the way, is continuing to work to get the other trucks up and running. There will be trucks out today at some point salting the hills as a preventive measure because of the moisture that's on the streets right now and the flash freeze that's expected tonight. Sweepers, we've got 5 sweepers total. One's been inoperable for quite some time. We're refurbishing the extra sweeper as a spare so that we can keep up with our street cleaning. That's basically it as far as the update of what's going on with DPW, other than long-term improvements to the department. We're looking to computerize our work order system and our complaint system, and we just continue to put out fires as they come. Thank you.
Can I ask one question? The law department still has an issue with not getting the appropriate paperwork they need for court, and we're getting our answers stricken. So that maybe we need to have another meeting about that. If you're going to get a staff member to help to do the research.
Unfortunately, the one guy that we had that was helping the most with it has gone to the water department. I think we've given you pretty much everything you've needed in the last few weeks. We got on top of it, but yeah, we're going to need
a
some
staff
help.
member, somebody else.
We need to hire a complaint investigator.
Yes.
Right now, because the number of people that we have, the only people that the law department has found acceptable to perform this have been the commissioner and the deputy commissioner, and that's a no-no. We know that. So we need to hire somebody who will have a working knowledge of what we do and have the ability to negotiate the system right now. The union titles do not allow a lot of these union members to do that without working out a title, and we've got another problem with people working out a title right now, as I said earlier. So we need a staff member.
Just for the knowledge of the group, for the average trip and fall on a sidewalk, we have to do a search for whether there's prior written notice. The only department that can do it is DPW.
Prior written notice has never been the problem. We were able to search for that very easily. It's all the other ancillary searches that are asked for, and the paperwork to type them up, and the time to do the searches. The average time per search is about 7 or 8 hours, because the records are in 5 different places and they're all on paper.
Right.
And this has to be somebody with knowledge of the system. It has to have somebody that has the time to do it. And you can talk about the workload that we have. We need a person full-time.
And to give testimony about what they searched, if we need them at a deposition or something like that.
Correct.
So that's critical, that if we don't get that, then the courts will strike the answer, which means we will not have any defense, and then they can ask for whatever they want to ask for. That, and we have several of those cases that have been stricken. I'm not blaming anyone, I'm just explaining.
We need a full-time complaint investigator in DPW.
Mayor, before you, just quick question, Memorial Field. So I understand about the cleanup, and I understand that the county, I guess, is dealing with the actual design and everything else. Now, I've asked the county before, so I'm just going to break it and say it again. At what time is there going to be a discussion between the city and the county about the design in itself and what is feasible, because I know there's this discussion around the position, the tennis courts, the knot, so forth and so on. And I just want to, has anybody said anything?
I spoke to Ken, he's supposed to be having something soon, very soon. I will push the issue, I will call him today after this meeting and speak to the county and set up a meeting that we can sit down with the county so we can have some clarity on what they want to do. Because we already will be prepared by next month, the beginning of next month, to turn it over to them, but we need to know exactly what's going on with that. So yes, let's have that meeting so we know what's going on exactly. And I'm sure we gotta have more town hall meetings because I heard last that they were gonna put a skateboard park in there. So these are the things we need to address and find out exactly what's going on. All right, but I will make a phone call after we finish this meeting.
Good morning, everybody. The Department of Assessment, last month has prepared and published the Emergency Tenant Protection Act, which is the ETPA listing. That's in accordance with the Office of Real Property Tax and the Mount Vernon City Charter. And we also supplied the original list to the Controller's Office for her to process that report. And my office also generated and emailed a list of all of the veterans and disabilities credits that the shareholders that live within the 34 co-op buildings should receive by the end of the year. Currently, my office is currently working on the small claims. That's a weekly conference that the Deputy Commissioner handles. I think we have about 207 of small claims. That's from off the 2019 assessment roll, but that would affect the 2020 taxes. And my office is currently working on the tax certiorari's. As I stated many times, there's really no end of the light at that tunnel. We're currently working with that with the law department every Tuesday up at the Westchester Supreme Court. Besides that, the office right now, we're just doing a lot of cleanup. Besides working on the small claims and the tax certs and getting ready for 2020. Thank you.
Okay, and I believe the money for those tax certs, we've already put it all together with Gary, I guess, and we sent it off to the council, so that way council, we can get approval for all of that money to be moved over, so that you can deal with all of those lawsuits and all the judgments, along with a lot of the back pays on the lawyers and all that is jamming this up as well.
Well, the only thing I know about is the transfer that is from the various departments to the outside council budget. I don't know about the tax search transfer.
Yes, well, that's supposed to be part of it, part of the $1 million.
Okay.
So we got to work that out.
All right.
Tied in with the.
I think there's a tax search line, though. I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that tax search line has been underfunded in the past budget, the last two budgets.
Right. So I know we owe. You got them going into court. They're making these deals, and out of good faith, the judge is expecting these things to be paid. So we're putting our legal department in a problem, pretty much, because these things need to get paid because they're turning into judgments anyway, and the city will be paying an extra additional 9% on top of that money. So we got to make sure that we clean all of that up. I know it's been pending, it's going back before our time. However, we still got to fix it. So let's make sure we
may
stay
have
on
to
top
do
of that.
another referral going into the tax cert line, because I don't know if we could take it out of the outside council line if we transfer it there, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I don't know how you do that.
Okay, we'll work it out.
Okay.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Oranges, right?
Sorry.
Okay.
Wrapping up the gas stations, we are about 98% updated on the new anti-card skin devices. The only two that aren't, is one station that doesn't accept credit cards and the other one that might be getting a remodel. I had a New York State inspector down here last week with his sophisticated weight kit to do some pharmacies, and next week I'll be going to downstate training in Long Island to see what's new. And something interesting is this year I started writing summonses for contraband material, like paraphernalia, scales, bags, things of that nature. And state inspector was saying that if certain things are made legal next year, that the things that I was writing might all be legal next year, and that the scales that I was writing as paraphernalia equipment, the state lab is trying to figure out specifications and tolerances because I might have to be inspecting them next year if certain items are made legal. And catch my drift, right?
Yeah,
they legalized marijuana.
Marijuana.
Yeah, marijuana is legalized. It's going to be sold by a unit of measure, which is going to have to go through a scale.
Yeah, ounces, pounds.
Exactly. And they're trying to figure out.
We can say it.
They're trying to figure out specifications and tolerances.
Okay.
And another thing, I'm back in the small stores again that don't sell anything by the pound, but I'm finding a lot of illegal cigarettes. And I think they know there's nothing I can do about it. And they basically tell me I need to learn the law, but I know enough that a cigarette that doesn't have a New York stamp is illegal. So I've been talking to Clerk Brown, and I'm trying to figure out a way to come out with a cigarette license. Not so much to tax the people that are doing it the right way, but to have criteria built into the license for selling loose cigarettes and illegally stamped cigarettes, where, because it just goes on right in front of me with no regard.
So there's cigarettes coming off the reservoir?
They're coming from Virginia, Georgia, and
Tobacco country.
the thing of it is that it's the higher authorities won't go after it unless there's 35 cartons, which makes it a felony. And for just ones and twos, I think it might be worth it. Because I'm behind the counter, it's a byproduct of my inspection. If I see it, I'd like to be able to do something about it.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's it.
Mr. Mayor, Fire Department is status quo. We have 3 brand new trucks coming in. Like I told you, November 18th, December 11th and 16th. Otherwise,
I can't hear you. Can you speak up? What do you say?
we have 3 new trucks coming. November 18th, December 11th, and December 16th. All 3 trucks will be in the city. Otherwise, we're status quo, waiting for the weather to come, and keeping the city safe.
Beautiful.
I know. Good morning. When's the last time we got a new truck?
2010.
2010.
So it'll be 10 years later, we finally got some new trucks. All right. Great job.
Good morning, everybody. The Office of Emergency Management. Currently, we are working in coordination with the County Office of Emergency Management. We're trying to get our shelter trailer stocked completely. In the beginning of this year, some of the contents of the trailer was used for faith-based initiatives, if I'm not mistaken. So we're trying to get this stocked with our auto cots. We need pillows, blankets, things of that nature. The hygiene kits were a little bit tampered with us, I would say, or just depleted. So we're trying to right now work with the county in order to get the trailer completely stocked. So that way, if we have any cold blues coming down, anything like that for the winter weather advisories, if the weather were to drop under 33 degrees right now, anybody who's homeless or anything like that would have to come in from out of the cold. So we're trying to make sure that the armory and the Dole Center is prepared to be able to help shelter any of the homeless residents or anybody from the city of Mount Vernon right now overnight or even in the daytime. Right now, as we speak, the Dole Center is the daytime warming center, but they don't have heat to store the residents overnight. And the armory is what will hold as the nighttime shelter. But when I spoke to Mrs. Williams, she said since she's been the commissioner and she's been working over at the armory, they haven't had anybody that's had to stay overnight due to any weather advisories or anything like that. So she said they just been there for the night and then they leave around 10, 11 at the latest. So right now, that's what we're working on. And also, the Office of Emergency Management is working on curating social media pages where, in hopes to reach the residents of Mount Vernon, we would like to opt into a new way. Everybody's been using TV and radio for the last, 50 years, I would say, whenever it came to an emergency alert. But right now, we're trying to tap into a younger generation as well, getting them prepared, getting them ready. So somebody who's in my age bracket, 29 years old or younger, would know what to do in the event of a weather advisory or weather warning. Also, who can help an older or elderly grandparent, aunt, or something like that. Anybody who's disabled. So that's what we're working on now, so that way we can get a great dissemination of information out to the public. And that's all.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Are you guys prepared for storms this year?
That's what we're working on now. So I was speaking to Damani, and we were trying to get the county trailer up to Westchester County now. So that's where we stand with. I spoke to Mark up at the Westchester County Office of Emergency Management, and he's going through the supplies to see if he can supplement what we need and what's lacking in the trailer. And that's really what we're working on now.
Okay.
You have a challenge with the door. You have a challenge. You have a challenge at your
Gas
door.
was inspected as well.
Okay, good.
At your door center, you don't have heat in your senior room, and this has been an ongoing issue. This issue has been going on for over a year. And we decided last year, because we keep displacing the seniors during the day. Right now, they're all over the Armory because the heating unit is not working over there. And this is the same thing that happened during the winter season of last year. We just decided that once that season was over, that we were going to get that unit fixed or replaced or whatever it was during the time in which you did not need the heat. The problem, the challenge is that you've got to identify the money to do it. Now, what's interesting is that there is a capital budget for the Doe Center that last checked had hundreds of thousands of dollars that was supposed to be left in it. And some of that money is money that also was given to the city as a part of some partnership with Leicester Towers when it all changed, right? And so there should be money, quote unquote, according to what I have been told, or what I was told when I was the Recreation Commissioner, was that yes, while there is money that is supposed to be in that account on paper, it is not there. The cash flow is not there because money has been used for other problems.
So you're saying the money that was there, that we see on paper, is not there?
Right, because
So
the explanation was from the chief accountant to me, was that, because I want to be factual so nobody says that I told a lie, right? Was that, again, the cash flow is not there. The city is waiting for money to be reimbursed to it from these various grants that have been out there, that have been reimbursable grants, which is hence the reason why the comptroller is leery about reimbursable grants. So, having said that, then therefore, there was no way to kind of move forward with a letter of referral to get D&H to replace the unit there. And so now we're in the winter season and our seniors are being displaced. So at some point we got to figure out.
So you said that was on with Leicester Towers. I know Leicester Towers has been replacing all their boilers. Why haven't we done anything?
Well, no. What happened is years ago, right? There was a renovation and something that happened with Leicester Towers, and also there was some arrangement where the city actually did receive money because of Leicester Towers, I guess, use or something with the Doe Center. So there was money that was contributed to the city for capital development of the Doe Center. In addition, that the city had a capital budget. So when you look at it, though, when you run the report, there is money really that is still left over in that capital fund on paper. But what the comptroller's office has said is that they've had, again, the cash flow of the city is not there for them to be able to say that there's money actually in that account to be able to use it. I mean, you'd have to ask the comptroller, for specifics around it, but the bottom line is that what is supposed to be there on paper is not necessarily there on paper because of a cash flow issue.
All right, so let me ask this question. How much does it cost and how quickly can we get it done? Because you cannot have the dole center heat not working through the winter time. Because according to my folks that I talk to, because you know I do disaster training and all that stuff, it's going to be a bad year.
Yes.
Coming this winter, well, I wasn't going to say it on camera and all that stuff, but yes, it's projected and predicted to be a very, very bad winter this time. Unusual bad.
Yes.
So this is what scientists and everybody is saying. What we need to figure out is how we are going to fix this immediately, okay, and get this thing done. And also, Commissioner, I've been talking about that hot water heater at the animal shelter. That has not been working. They have no hot water.
We're gonna get one.
Well, we gotta get it, and we gotta get it done quickly. Like maybe by the end of this week, because they can't wash the animals, they can't wash the dogs in cold water in a cold winter. And the door we were talking about, I think I was talking to you or one of the other commissioners, that animal shelter need a new front door. Because the place is just, I wouldn't even put a dog in there. But you know, what was that old saying? I wouldn't set a dog out on a night like this or whatever it is. But bottom line is, animals are family members too. And people need to understand that. Because trust me, I had dogs and that's why I don't have them now, because I still haven't gotten over the other ones. So they are family members. So you need to make sure that we focus on that and treat the animals as if we're with dignity and, you know, as a family member. We need the hot water, okay? And not only for the dogs, for the people that work there so that they can wash their hands and do what they have to do. We're not gonna let them go through the winter without that. We need that done. Before this administration leaves, all of this needs to be corrected and fixed. So we're still working on overtime to make sure that we leave here with everything in place properly. So we gotta get the animal shelter and we gotta get the dole center heated and fixed before we end up with challenges that we don't want to
As an interim, we can look at, see if we can repair the heat that's existing in that senior home.
Yes.
We've done that before. It's gonna fail. We know it's old, we know it's like our trucks, but we can look to try and do something.
Try to do something, get that up and going while we work on replacing it. Replacing a boiler is not that hard.
It's not a boiler, it's a
What is it?
rooftop unit.
A rooftop unit is
Yeah,
not that hard.
I may be able to get it done.
It's a blower?
Take a look at it. Yeah.
A blower.
Yeah,
So the condensers are up on top.
Gas top unit.
Okay, so you get a crane, you lift it up, you buy it, then you put it on. It's not a problem. You can install it in a day. Yeah, well, figure out what the finance is, because we gotta figure out how to get the finance in place. There's money around, we gotta transfer it. It is a priority one. So let's get it done. All right?
We
It's
did
not
get
that
a
hard.
quote.
I know there are 50 million people that can put that up on there in a crane or whatever. So let's get it done.
We did get a quote last year to get it repaired, so I'll just find it and reach out to the company so that they can update it, so that we can get that done. Also, I did speak with Chuck prior to my coming up here. He was supposed to reach out to D&H, and they were supposed to try to come out today. They were there Friday, and they were supposed to come out again today while the seniors are again at the Armory. But I'll work on that as soon as I get downstairs, because they don't like to be moved.
All right? We know that. Because wherever grandma says she's at is where
That's
she's
where-
supposed to be.
Right. And I don't want any more
Can't tell her
trouble.
go no place else.
Exactly. Okay, I'll work on that when I get down.
All right,
I'm gonna
thank
ask.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor, good morning, or afternoon, I should say. Of course, the holiday season is coming. Hopefully, from a prevention standpoint, we want to keep crime down from Thanksgiving and also going towards Christmas.
Well, keep crying down. We're gonna give every child a toy. We're gonna give everybody a turkey, and we're gonna give everybody a Christmas tree, and we're gonna make sure that everybody in Mount Vernon is happy.
Absolutely.
And that stops and deters. And if we got some jobs, I think we got 50 jobs coming in for FedEx. I've got to talk to you about that. If they can drive, give them a job too. Make everybody happy over the holidays. Go ahead, sorry.
And the other thing is what we need, we're continuing the signage, by the way, throughout the city. We're talking with Pat. We're going to a recommendation coming to you for some fees to be changed, administrative fees, public safety fees, for your approval to go before the city council. We've done our paperwork, it just has to come to you. Of course, we're still working on the radio room, Motorola. Okay, that contract has been approved, and also we're getting a new parking management system that we're working on, so that can go into effect on January. And also working on the residency parking for the city. And we need a new traffic management system, parking system to do that. On the other note, Lauren, we need some help as far as invoices getting paid for the attorneys, like ASAP. We need to finish up. It's a big problem. I mean, we really need it done. We can talk offline about that. Okay.
Well, we're waiting for the city council meeting so the money can be transferred into outside council. Then from there, the mayor will have to prioritize who gets what first and when and if.
Okay, well, we'll talk offline, Mayor.
We know we gotta get all the lawyers back to work because we got a lot of problems. It's a big mess that was left before we got here, but like I said, we gotta fix it. And we will. So as soon as the council handles this part, we'll be able to clean up that so we don't end up getting into more lawsuits and more judgments, costing us 5 times the amount instead.
That's basically all we got.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, I didn't see the bill. I didn't see
Right
the,
here.
I didn't see the head from the building person.
I know, I was so far. Your girl's still here?
No, and you, girl.
I'll go first, because I got somebody that's waiting.
All right, well, go ahead. Let us
Do
know.
bad news first, like everybody else.
Everybody wanted to try bad news first, but that's all
It
right.
is what it is.
This way we could cure it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think it's gonna happen. As much as I wanted to, understaffed, they're undertrained, short of space, we don't have the correct technology, so seriously, I mean, when I got there, as you know, in August, at one point, we only had 1 building inspector, now we have 2.
All right. Well,
Now we have, there wasn't a plumbing inspector, we have a plumbing inspector now, I'll find another housing inspector. Tests have come back, so we'll be having another building clerk, another housing inspector, which all have to get trained, but one of the problems is we have no cars, we're sharing cars. So they can't get much work done with 2 people in a car. They use my car, we don't have enough cars, that's the number one.
where's all the,
They sit on the second floor broke down, I don't know where they're going. All I know, the building department has no cars.
well, who's in charge of the fleet management?
DPW.
All right.
I talked to the commissioner though.
Listen,
I found the cars for them, they have to find the key.
We don't have keys.
now how did the last administration lose the keys to all the cars?
But
It doesn't make
people that were
sense.
There
driving.
were no inspectors.
That means you can't lose
I understand.
6 to 10 keys for
No.
10 cars.
You got a commissioner, I'm
Somebody
sorry.
took
I'm
the
mayor.
keys.
Yes, I'm sorry, what happened? People, it was a revolving door up there. You have, deputy commissioner here, that was 2 or 3 weeks, they ain't going. Then another one, same with the whole department.
Did they leave with all the keys?
I believe they did.
All
I have
right,
no
so
idea.
what we need to do, Commissioner of the Police Department need to get with the attorney, okay? And we need to reach out to all these people for all these keys, because I know we got a brand new white truck over there too that nobody can find a key for. So, this doesn't make sense. So what we need to do is track down the keys, or else we're gonna have to go and spend all this money to redo new keys for the car.
We should also check to see if our insurance our
Yes.
insurance vehicles may cover
That
that.
one is missing too, the keys. It's got about 2 inches of dust sitting across the street. Nobody can find a key for it. Nobody can move any of these vehicles. We're down about 6 or 8 vehicles that are sitting there, city cars, but nobody can find a key to get in the car.
Good chance.
And they all disappeared. That doesn't make sense. That to me sounds like a conspiracy. Okay? So we need to get DPW, you need to figure it out. Get with the police department and the law department and start writing letters to all those people who had cars that we know of, okay? and start demanding those keys be returned. If not, we're gonna have to take action because it's gonna cost us money to break into the car, to change the locks on the doors and the locks on the.
It's $150.
It's about $150.
$150, I already checked with the locksmith.
The deputy's saying that chips, they're not,
Some of those keys are more expensive, depends on the year of the car. Some of them have
They're
chips
old.
inside.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
the
old?
Ford
Oh, you can get a key when
Black
they're
Ford
old?
Tauruses, yeah.
See?
All right.
See?
all right.
Well, Mr. DPW,
Some of them
or
are
Commissioner,
And
let's see if we
also-
get those cars today.
Okay.
the last
And
two.
Because they
also-
can't do the inspections
Yeah,
either.
also, because it is busy now, it's heat season. So the permits have slowed down, others have picked up, but we also have a technology problem we have to deal with Commissioner Gary upstairs with SCA, because we can't get the elevator bills out, which they don't do. We just started doing the absentee landlords, that's coming back in. But also, we're trying to find the records, so I could bring the building department in compliance with the New York State Department of State. Reports haven't been sent to them since 2016.
That's crazy.
And I'm having trouble finding the information. What happened is, at the end of the year, as we do the annual report that the mayor's supposed to get, there's a separate report for code enforcement that we have to do with the state. That's why they came down. That's why they came down on the building department. As you said, 2016 report was due in 2017, which was never done. So now we're missing 2016, 17, 18, and 19 won't be due until 20, but trying to find the record keeping for it is, because pretty much the people up there knew too. That was a revolving door again.
Once
Nobody
again-
knows where anything is.
Once again,
I know, I'm working
you
on it.
need to have a discussion after this with the law department.
Okay.
Listen up, Lauren,
Yes, I'm hearing you.
and the police department, because they are going to, I know for a fact, they are going to help you look at all of those documents that the district attorney has. And I know they have. Sure, am I saying this on camera?
Yes.
But
Sure
anyway,
did.
turn the camera that way. Anyway, you gotta retrieve those. That was the one that was in the supposed fire and burned up all of those people's filings.
Yeah, I
So
found
we-
some of those.
We gotta figure it out because there's still people coming in and they're saying that their stuff was
Yeah.
lost in the supposed fire.
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta straighten that out and see what you can find. All right?
But on a good note, I do got some good news.
Okay, let's hear the good news now.
It's not that good, but it's good.
Don't tear down the
Uh-oh.
good news, lady. Just come on, Commissioner. Give us the good news that's
Since we
good.
got here, I can say that the fire department and DPW were cooperating a whole lot more. They were never getting plans before, just like he said how something was built on an 8-inch pipe with 6 inches of shouldn't have been. All plans before it gets approved now goes to the fire department and DPW for review before we issue anything with plans. Which I think has stopped since 2016.
Correct.
They were, that's what's supposed to happen.
All right.
So we're in connection with each
All
other,
right.
now, right, Commissioner?
Still gotta clean it up.
Yeah.
We got 3
We
and a half
did,
years to
yeah.
clean it up.
We started, because we got a lot of objections to a whole lot of plans that was being, getting ready to get approved too.
All right, so that's good news. All right. All right, you girl, tell us about our children.
Good afternoon, everybody. So in the month of October, we served 603 young people. That was in our day programs, our after-school programs, as well as youth employment. Thank you for any of the commissioners that helped with the interview. We really appreciate that. We're looking forward to incorporating a new program in our after-school programs with Scholastic. We're partnering with Scholastic so that we can help the young people improve their reading levels. We're going to implement that in the next week or so, so we're super excited. We had a conference yesterday, a webinar yesterday with all the staff, so that was really great. Let's see. We are making plans for 2 upcoming events in October. We have the World AIDS Day event, and we also have the pre-Kwanzaa event. The Gems girls are preparing for that. They're working on poetry and dance and drumming, so we're excited for those. The Nativity Musical, which is going to be at John Jay College, and the college tour, the HBCU college tour with strong students. So we're excited about that as well. And that is it.
All right, short and sweet.
Yes.
All right, we already went over this meeting, so it is time for us to adjourn at this time. Back to work, everybody. Great job. Thank you. Teddy, I want to see you.